Yeah.
Anyway, let's get this show on the road.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the 133rd episode of the Geekverse Podcast. This one, extra special, Planet of the Apes, well, rather, War for the Planet of the Apes?
Yeah.
Is that just what the full title is?
That's it. That's a long name.
Yeah, we're doing a review for that. Just the two of us today, so I haven't thought of a name yet. I'll just go with the classic, Adam Hartcaster, Dylan Musk.
I am I had a good one earlier. I was thinking all day, how can I get a good one for this?
There's probably a few, and I just didn't think about any of them.
Yeah, I'm the,
You don't have all day.
I'm the Ape Don't Kill Ape, Taylor Field.
Okay.
Shit.
I'm not surprised that you picked a quote from that character, because when I was watching the movie, I was like, Taylor is going to love this particular character.
Oh, yeah.
So, just a small, with this, as I was saying to you before, I'm pretty sure this is our first ever just duo cast between two of us.
I think so.
So,
yeah.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
But, if you've never been to a Geekverse Podcast episode review before, what we do is we give like a quick overall of what we thought of the movie, spoiler free, and then right after that we just, give out the spoiler warning, because then everything's available to be talked about. So what did you think overall, spoiler free?
Overall, it was a very different experience seeing the first two films.
True.
First.
Yeah, you and Tyler went to the triple feature.
Yeah.
Back to back. Oh, I was wondering, how much time do they give you in between each movie?
Yeah, well, between the first and second movie, it was like 40 minutes.
Really?
That was overkill. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then
that's brutal.
It was really brutal. So the second and third film, it was only 20 minutes. So they picked up the pace a little bit there. But those first two films really just changed how excited and how much you appreciate this film.
You're just into that world.
You're into that world.
Yeah.
I mean, you're there for almost 7 hours. How can you not be invested in this world? So I feel like I'm going to be a little bit more excited than the average kind of showgoer would be. But, that being said, it surpassed my expectations. I was not overly excited for this film. I thought it looked great. I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, what'd you think of the first two?
The first two, it was a long time since I've seen them.
Uh-huh.
So they really brought the emotion out.
Right.
Those first two films. And by the time I got to that third one, I was just so drained. Like, I was just...
For a movie about monkeys, it's surprisingly emotional.
It's surprisingly emotional. A lot more human, considering they're apes, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, how about you?
I loved it. I think the first thing I want to bring up is like the part that really brought it all together for me is that it really seemed like every aspect of the movie was put together in like a really specific way. So like the soundtrack for the movie, just like every scene kind of had like, even if it was just a couple notes here or there, like underline, and then it would build up the emotional scenes, and then like the bongo drums when like something, some shit's about to go down. So to me, it just seemed like it was all put together so well. And so, when you combine like, good characters with like, it's funny how like Caesar and stuff, you can get across these emotions with like a mocap character, but when you combine all that and then like just solid action and stuff like that, like it all just came together so well, I felt like, with like the soundtrack and just the pacing of it. So yeah, for me, like there's so many movies this year like that I've just, there's like a little down point where for like 20 minutes I'm like a little out of it or something like that. And I was tired last night because I woke up at like, 5 a.m. or whatever, but I felt like I was just invested the whole time, and I was just really into like every particular scene. Like every scene was right where it should have been, I guess. Like it just seems like this movie's been, through the editing process like for so long just to get it so crisp. So there's not really any like downtime, and if there is, it's intended to be there so you can like think about something, I guess. So overall, I was really into this movie, and I really like the first two. They kind of like, I guess when you hear that Planet of the Apes is being remade, like I never saw them back in the day, but I guess I wouldn't expect that it'd be like kind of such an emotional like sort of movie, right?
Yeah, well that's the thing. Like the originals, I didn't find them emotional. I found them to be like a full-on action-packed, like exciting adventure. And this is just, it follows that same general story, but just dives really deep into like humanity and that aspect. Yeah. So it's a real twist. Like, when was the last time you watched the first two? Was it close to this one, or was it a long time ago?
I've seen both of them, like probably at least 2 or 3 times, and probably within the last like year or two. Okay. So not long ago. I like them, so I rewatch them every once in a while, and I see it on Netflix or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, is that anything else spoiler free, or should we just hop into it?
I think we gotta hop into it. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. So yeah, spoiler warning here. If you haven't seen the movie, I think both of us would say, recommend to go see it. Obviously, if you really do got to see the other two to understand like the characters, and there is like definitely some references to the previous movies in term like in Koba, his flashback scene and stuff like that. So I would say go see it. If you don't care about spoilers though, then hang out with us. But I mean, remember, we'll always be here. So go see it, come back. We're gonna still be here.
We'll still be here. Yeah.
So where should we start? Start with the general story. So
yeah.
I can't. Because you just saw the second one. Where does the second one leave off exactly?
The second one leaves off where Koba was killed and the people in that city.
Because it's like the skyscraper thing or something?
Yeah. So like the survivors in San Francisco, they send out that message to like a military base up north, and they respond, and that's where it ends. Caesar realizes okay, we're going to war.
Yeah.
Shit's going down, and that's where it ends. And so it seems like there was a bit of space between that and the third one, because they say they've been at war for a while now.
Yeah, and they mention like 10 years ago or something they haven't seen that guy in 10 years. So yeah, you definitely feel some time has passed, and you see that in Caesar. He just, I didn't see the second one as recently as you do, but he seemed like he just looked older. He has gray hair and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, time has definitely passed, and I thought it was a little cheesy, but I kind of liked it. Like the intro, how they have like a paragraph and they highlight the word, what was the word? Dawn?
Rise.
Yeah, rise.
Dawn,
and then they have the second paragraph and they highlight the word dawn.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is kind of cheesy, but I'm okay with it.
It works.
It kind of reminds you what happened in the other two movies, which is good for me because I haven't watched them super recently. But yeah, the story is, I guess it starts out where there's kind of two tribes of apes. Well, not really. I guess there's Caesar and his group, and that's kind of like the main squad from the other movies. And then there's Koba's followers, or the people who were against Caesar, the apes rather, that were against Caesar, who have kind of teamed up with the military. And then they're kind of going at it. So the apes are helping to track, because I guess they have that one scout up in the tree. So they're using the apes, the army is rather, to track down Caesar where they are and just, I guess, kill them, take them out.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot up for this movie for an hour and a half or so, where Caesar's tribe is, trying to find a way out, or trying to find, I guess, a place even to go to. Meanwhile, within the first half an hour or so, Caesar's family gets killed by Woody Harrelson. What is his character's name again?
I think it's just the Colonel.
The Colonel? Yeah, I guess they call him that. So obviously there's that family storyline where Caesar, he wants the rest of his tribe to be safe, but he has wants to get some redemption on the Colonel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think of this storyline?
I feel like the way they explained at the very beginning about the apes being Koba's apes being with humans, I think that was a good thing, because when I watched those trailers and seeing that one gorilla guy with the humans, I was so puzzled. I didn't get that at all.
Right.
And I had no idea what was going on. So I'm glad that wasn't a kind of prolonged story throughout the film, but they set them up. This is what's going on. They're against Caesar and all that. And I thought that was awesome, especially to see a whole bunch of them. I thought it was weird though, because in the second one, they were so against the humans, and now you have them working, being called donkeys and working as kind of slaves for the humans, which is such a weird twist, I think.
Yeah, well, I guess it comes down to two things. One, Koba's followers, obviously they're kind of more gritty and they're just more savage in that sense. And then also, what was his name? Winter, where he mentioned that he got a trade deal or something. He would be safe if he told them where Caesar's tribe was going. So I guess there's that two sides to it. But there really isn't that many apes working for the Colonel and the army, really.
It seemed
less than 10, around there, very minimal amount. There's that one Kong, donkey guy. Oh, he looks exactly like Donkey Kong. I just kept thinking he was Donkey Kong. One thing I wanted to say about the story, so when I was sitting down to watch the movie, I was kind of okay, I sort of know what this movie's gonna, obviously there's gonna be a war that's going on, but I don't, from the trailers, I don't really know what to expect. I don't know where the story is going, and I think they did a really good job with the trailers of like showing enough for the people who have seen the other two to get interested and show some really cool scenes, but not enough to like give away what actually is going to happen. So the big example of that is, and in the trailer, there's a really iconic scene of Woody Harrelson. He's up on like that platform, I guess, like in the prison, and he's like giving that speech to everyone. But in the movie, that doesn't actually happen. Where he gives that speech, but it's just to Caesar and like I guess one or two other people in the room. And so I thought that was like not. I guess it wasn't really a twist, but just like it was one of those cases of like, this is how you do a trailer. It's like when we talk about Star Wars Force Awakens, like you can get me interested in the movie without telling me or showing me what's going to happen. And we just watched Spider-Man last week, where the trailer kind of reveals like a lot of the plot. So
yeah, like scenes where Woody Harrelson's coming down through the waterfall. I thought that was like longer in the movie, not right at the beginning. Like it was so hard to like pick and tell which scenes were coming at which point. Like even with, we'll get to it later, but like the disease part and then like the humans versus humans aspect. I didn't see that coming at all, and that's a good thing, like you said, because there's a lot of trailers just show too much.
It's hard to make a good trailer, right? Because you want to get people interested and you want them to know like at least what they're going to get invested in, but you don't want to show too much.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I thought the story was, I like that, and they did this with the music as well, where they make it feel like there's just no hope, or like very little hope, and they do that where they're just like kind of, Caesar's tribe is kind of just traveling, and it doesn't, like they kind of have this vision of like a desert or like a paradise oasis sort of thing, but they don't really know how to get there, and so they talk about like maybe, sending people in different directions to try to find it. But it really just feels like there's not much hope, and I guess I was maybe like a little. I didn't realize that there's not as many humans left as there is. Like I thought there was a lot more. Whereas from like what the Colonel says, and like other characters are saying, it sounds like there's not a lot of humans left, like generally in the world.
Well, between Planet of the Apes 1 and 2, it was 10 years.
Right.
And in number 2. The last 2 years of that 10-year cycle or period, they said they didn't see any more humans.
Yeah.
So, and then however many years it is between 2 and 3, I think it's definitely dwindled down to like what we saw was probably like the last huge, like large, abundant amount of humans.
Yeah.
Because the Colonel definitely does imply that there's really not too many people left. But I mean, that's just from his point of view, because like we don't know really what happened to all those people in San Francisco in the second film, because that looked like a good few hundred people. So
yeah, I guess the amount of time passes. Like this movie really only takes place in like, I guess it's a bigger area, but one sort of area, and you don't really know anything else what's going on around the world. Whereas in the other movies, they set up like I think it was in the first movie, that scene where the like pilot who has the disease like goes on the plane, and then it just has like that spreading out effect.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that aspect of the movie, where that was kind of like an underlying theme, is this like hopelessness of like, okay, even if they do get away and find this desert, how long can they stay there before they gotta move again? And so it's kind of hard to say. Like they've already confirmed, I think, that they're doing a fourth movie, and I'm kind of curious like how many people are left and like what's going to happen in that sense. But as for this like particular movie, I really love that hopelessness that they kind of give off, that theme, and I think the music does a really good job. Like they have little themes for like characters, and like it's just music that makes you like feel that hopelessness as well. So yeah, I don't know. That was a part of the story I really liked.
Yeah, no, I agree. The music was phenomenal for definitely fleshing out those moments and those scenes. And it could be, as you said, like just one or two notes, and it's just such a slow, calming scene, and it just really pulls you into that world. And it could either be like a good scene with something positive happening, or it could be something dark with what Woody Harrelson's doing.
Right.
Like where the direction of the film went, like I had no idea or was not expecting Caesar's like family to get killed, except for his youngest son, and
that happens like somewhat early on, I guess. Like maybe halfway through or something.
Yeah. As soon as that happened, and then Caesar was like struggling with this kind of realization of like seeing Koba and kind of becoming him. I thought that was really an interesting take, because he set up these morals for himself, and he has this above the other apes, kind of in a sense. Like the other apes don't have that sense of right and wrong most of the time, like Caesar does, and so it's neat to see that being challenged.
Well, you definitely get that feeling that, like, the pressure and the stress that's on Caesar too, because he's, they mentioned, like the other apes mentioned so often how he's their leader, and it seems like they don't know what they would do without him. Obviously, we're gonna have to find out. But yeah, I really like that aspect, and then obviously you add the fact that the family's gone, and that he's like the most, he is the most evolved. It seems, well, at least in terms of his ability to speak, and yeah, I guess reasoning too, and just like general morals. So yeah, I think obviously like the whole movie kind of revolves around Caesar, whereas he's maybe like he's like a side character in the first one, and the second one he's like the main character as well. But yeah, I really like that aspect of the story, and it's something too, like this year, I don't know what it is, but it seems like this year there's a lot of movies that are going with like that family theme. We talk about like Guardians of the Galaxy, where like all the storylines in there are to do with family, and then like, I don't know, that happened in Lego Batman too, where it ended up being like an actual emotional story, but it was to do with family.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of that this year, and so I guess I was like not super into it when it was happening, but at the end of the day, like if they take that sort of storyline and those themes and they do it well, then I can't complain. I'm not complaining. Like I thought it was really well done. And yeah, I love that what you mentioned of how Caesar has like these visions of becoming Koba, and he's like, you see how similar they are, yet how different they are. I guess it's just like they're similar people, but like one of them's good and one of them's bad, but everything else could be like compared.
Yeah. Do you feel when he was challenged? I think it was Maurice that said like you're becoming like Koba.
Yeah.
Why do you think he kind of got so defensive in that regard? Because you feel like he's kind of above that kind of like being that, like lowering himself to that level. He doesn't really do that. So for him to get told that.
Right. I think that probably comes down to the fact that, like, Caesar, he is so smart and he seems really self-aware, and he obviously, Maurice is like his best bud. He has like I guess he has a few best buds, but he's, he trusts his opinion. So when he says that, maybe it was like a point of realization. Like he always has so much self-control, but when Maurice said that, maybe that's the first time he realized it. Or maybe he realized that he felt that within himself internally, but then when someone else said it to him, he realized that other people are catching on to it. I guess that's the way I saw it.
Yeah, that's a good point. So how do you feel about them? Like, they were going off on their journey to find the Colonel and everything, and they took in the girl. How do you think, like, for the story, like, on that turn? Yeah,
that was... I kind of forgot that she was in the movie. Like, she's in the trailer where she's like riding on with Maurice there. But I kind of forgot that she was going to be in the movie. So when they went to that camp and they killed was that her father? Like
I think so.
I can't tell.
That's what the Colonel said. Some defector or some soldiers defected with their families and stuff.
Yeah,
getting sick.
But she didn't seem like it. Almost like the way she reacted when they took her.
She didn't really care.
Yeah, she almost seemed like she was being saved in a way. Like, obviously, being saved by these apes, and, obviously humans give off this, like, really bad opinion of apes. Yeah. But it didn't seem like she cared. Or maybe, like, even like that she was happy in a way. Because I couldn't tell if she was a prisoner to that guy or if she was her daughter. So maybe I need to watch it again, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention close enough or something. But as for the character herself, I have one question with her, actually. So when she kind of she walks through the main front door of that prison in order to, what was it? She goes and...
She, like, feeds Caesar.
She feeds Caesar, yeah. And then she, like, gives him her toy as well. So how, like, are the guards just not watching? Because, like, what's the difference between an ape walking in and her walking in?
Yeah,
like, why couldn't they have just walked in?
They were horrible.
They didn't seem very smart, and that was, part of it is that, this disease, I guess, kind of scrambles their mind a little bit. But I thought that was a little bit strange. I feel like I would have liked to seen something a little more creative of how she got in there. Maybe she would sneak around or something. Because really, like, there is no difference between, like, one of the apes going in there and her going in there.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I don't know really what they were trying to go for there. I mean, maybe it's just that moment in the scene, the feeling, like, it's this small innocent girl and she just strolled in.
Yeah, no fear of the people,
no
I suppose.
Fear, I don't know. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you got these highly trained U.S. soldiers that have outlasted the disease and this war so far for, like, over 10 years.
Yeah, true.
You think they would kind of develop that sense just to be on their toes a little bit? I guess not.
I mean, maybe they. Well, actually, it's true that at that point they didn't realize that that they didn't have all of the apes, because at that point they didn't have Maurice, and I can't remember what's his other best bud's name. I can't remember what that guy's name is. The tough guy, Ike.
Rocket.
Rocket, is it Rocket? Yeah, Rocket Raccoon. Yeah, so I guess they didn't realize or forgot that they didn't have every single ape, and then obviously the girls and what is the name of the other goofy guy? The other guy that could talk, who had the vest on?
I just know him as Bad Ape. That's
Bad
what
Ape.
he
We'll call him Bad Ape.
himself. He'd say Bad Ape.
So obviously Bad Ape wasn't there originally, but I guess they didn't realize that they didn't catch all the apes. So you can be a little lenient on the fact that they weren't, or having someone to watch the main gate. Well, I guess because they also, was this before, when she went in there, was that before or after they distracted that one guard by flinging poop at him?
It was after.
It was after that. So maybe that was that guy's job or something. Or no, do you mean the other way around?
The other way around, yes.
Yeah,
so he
that's
got
what I
the
thought.
poop flung after.
Yeah, so ideally there should have been someone there.
Yeah.
That was my one question with her, but as for her character, I don't know, I thought she was alright. Like, it wasn't anything special. Like, she didn't really have, like, I guess she sort of had the emotional moment with, I wish I could remember these characters' names. That would be really helpful. The bigger ape. The one who got...
Luca.
It's Luca, yeah, thank you. You're helping me out a lot. So she had that emotional moment with Luca, but even that felt a little strange to me because they only had one scene together when he gave her that flower. And so, yeah, she would still be sad, but I don't know. Like, I thought she was okay, but if the movie didn't have her in there, I don't know, and if they just worked around a couple scenes to fill in the gaps, I don't know if it would have made that much of a difference.
It wouldn't have changed the story or anything,
do you feel similarly then? Or?
I feel similar, yeah. I think it's cool because, they have, in these movies, they have that one human that is good and kind of creates a connection for ape and humanity in that sense, as the majority of humans are bad. So I feel like that's just her job in this.
And I guess since she's young... And she's a kid and she can't speak. Like, she is very innocent, too.
Yeah. And it was really... I like the part actually seeing her, learn how to sign with them and everything. And, it got to the point where she thought she was an ape. That's how much this disease was affecting...
Well, I guess, yeah, to her, with that such an innocent view, to her, what is the difference between us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I felt like that was definitely some themes they were going for, too, and what they were trying to show with, the way they were treating those apes in the prison. I think what they were trying to go for is okay, what is the difference between us treating apes like this and how people have done this in the past to other people? And I felt like that was something they were trying to go for, and so I feel like they did that really well too. I understood that, and it really made me if a movie makes you ask yourself questions afterwards, then it's a pretty good movie usually, unless those questions are. I don't have a good joke right now, but it's some stupid questions.
Yeah. I think the one of the parts in that leading up to when the apes were in the prison that really got to me was when Caesar was you see how his apes kind of they weren't turning on him, but they just disregarded him. They didn't, at that moment, they were just so hurt that he abandoned them. And then the next day when they were working and Caesar was pulled up to the front in front of the colonel, the apes were just kind of cheering him on. And when they knew that Caesar was going to get popped, they just started to work again. And I just think, that's so incredible to see them doing that for Caesar. It's such a neat thing that they were able to display. And even for the characters too. But on that note of the girl kind of connecting with the group of apes, I feel like you're right. There wasn't much connection between her and Luca. Her and any of the other apes, really. I feel like even though they showed her getting close to them, it was just kind of her and Caesar, I feel like, for the most part.
And her and Maurice, too.
And Maurice, yeah. Do you want to talk about the characters now, probably?
Yeah. Let's just hop into the characters, yeah. Well, I guess, okay, one more thing with the story. I think that, the inclusion of the girl, some of this, plot points were a little strange, but I really liked the prison breakout, how they... Maurice and Rocket and Bad Ape found that underground little tunneling system. And so they used that in combination with like, this is how many steps you need to walk to get underneath this particular spot. And so they did that, and they, got to the apes in their pen, but then they realized, okay, we can't go get the children out because this way is blocked off by some water that's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they had to go like through by making that distraction, and then going in there and releasing them by getting the keys. So I don't know, I just thought that was like clever, and it was like fun to watch, and it was just like, it really felt like they were figuring it out on the fly.
Yeah.
Like it felt genuine, I guess.
Yeah.
So I really liked, just generally like the way the story went from place to place, I thought was really well done, with the exception of like the girl was just okay, I guess.
Yeah, that was neat too, because I mean, most of the movies it's Caesar doing the thinking, he's the leader, but in that sense, like Maurice and Rocket were like, what would Caesar do in this moment? And their apes had to think for themselves finally, which is a really cool kind of progression for them to make in their story. Yeah, I think they got out of there in the nick of time, because I wasn't expecting that attack to be so sudden like that.
I kind of was. I was kind of thinking at some point the other army is going to get here, or else I feel like I'd be a little disappointed if they didn't do that. So I was thinking it was coming.
Yeah. See, that's another thing the trailer kind of fooled me, was seeing all those soldiers like marching with the guns and the tanks and the helicopters. I was thinking, okay, we're gonna have apes fighting these people here.
Yeah.
And no, it wasn't much of a war really. It was just them trying to escape, and humanity. Like the message in there is just humanity killing themselves.
Right, I like that too, because the apes, and they even like, that's at the beginning part when they take over that camp. Like they don't want to. Like, they took some hostages. Obviously, they did end up killing some of them, because as like a defensive mechanism. But when they had like those 5 like hostages, they just sent them, alive, because, I guess they didn't want to kill the humans. They just wanted to, have peace, and obviously that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. Because
of all the stuff that happens with the Colonel and his character and his storyline. But yeah, yeah, man, I really like the story. I think it had a lot of moving working parts to it, and they all kind of function well together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's talk about the characters. I guess the Caesar is the main character, and I thought he just was, like, this was the best one so far. I don't remember the second one as well as I would like, and I probably should have watched it right before this movie, but yeah, I thought Caesar, like, you can see the aged, like how he's aged, and there's more stress on him and pressure, and like the mocap in this movie was ridiculously good. The apes interacting with humans just looked like, there was maybe 1 or 2 scenes where it seemed a little bit off. I think that one, like when they're up in that mountain pass and there's that one guy that's still alive, they buried those 3 soldiers. That, like, some of that CGI looked a little strange, interconnected, but overall I thought it was super well done. And Andy Serkis, who, does the mocap and the voice as well for Caesar, I'm pretty sure. Man, like, such an amazing character. It's funny to think that, like, an ape can be, like, one of my favorite characters of, like, any movie this year. But, yeah, I thought Caesar was phenomenal. So many layers to him, and it just feels like such a real character, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think they picked, like, Andy Serkis, I think, was, like, the most perfect person in the world to play that role. And you need someone who can really express so much just with their face, because that's all they really have to go on for these apes. It's just their facial expressions. And Caesar is just those long moments of looking at his face, like you can just see like the wear and tear, and just how he's so like emotional and just trying, and it's incredible, truly incredible. And I mean, you say that this was probably your favorite Caesar so far?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like the second one, I do have to admit that it's a little fuzzy in my mind. I just haven't seen it super recently. But
for me, it's between the first and this one. I'd say like the second one was good. Like he was really, it was really interesting, because I mean, his apes finally betrayed him. But I mean, the first one of him learning like the bad side finally of humanity,
right?
That was a really cool,
a big turning point for the character.
Turning point for the character, as opposed to this one where you just see an exhausted one who just wants the right thing for his tribe.
I honestly was getting, I know you haven't seen it yet, but I was getting like vibes of Logan, like how that character, because he's just he's been around so long, and there's just stressed and he just looks old. Like, I honestly was seeing that connection between Caesar and Logan. So.
Yeah.
You still gotta see that movie.
No, I totally do.
I feel like at this point you almost shouldn't, just because it's funnier and it kind of triggers Travis quite a bit in the group chat.
It is enjoyable. I'm not gonna lie. Out of all the apes, Caesar's he's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's the smartest, I feel like, above the other apes, because like all the other apes that have the gas infect them, his mother was the one who was infected with the gas, and he was born out of it. So I mean, he's just got that.
He's got the edge.
He's got the edge, the morals, the right from wrong, and I just think it separates. He is an ape, but it separates him from the other apes, I feel.
Yeah. What other characters? The main squad of like Rocket and Luca and Maurice. They seem pretty much like the same as they've always been, and that's fine. I think they all have like their purposes.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love Maurice. I think he's just like, I just love the look and like the way he like moves his hands around when he's doing the sign languages and stuff like that. Rocket's kind of like, he's pretty one-dimensional character, and Luca as well. But just to back up, like the CGI of all of the apes, I thought was well done.
Yeah. No, I don't think Luca was in the other ones. I don't think.
Wasn't he?
In the first one there was a gorilla.
Oh, there was the big tough guy, and that's a different one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a gorilla in the second one. Maybe that's Luca. I don't remember.
Maybe I lied.
But Maurice and Rocket have been there since the
beginning. They're his main squad for sure.
Yeah. Rocket, you're right. Like, he's very much the same. And I think he was really cool because I think he was like the tough alpha male who was beating up Caesar in the first one, and now he's like one of his most loyal kind of friends.
Oh yeah, loyal to the end.
Yeah, and then Maurice is just, you don't see him holding a gun. He's just he's late. He's behind everyone else, and he'll get in there if he has to. Like, we've seen him like really stand up and make a point, and he's pretty cool. But he's got a soft heart.
He seems really smart too, like relative to the other apes.
Yeah,
like he seems a lot more. Because obviously, like a component to a lot of the apes is that they're, they still have like this savagery to them, and it seems like Maurice is kind of past that.
Yeah, he's kind of aiming for like knowledge.
Yeah,
that's what he kind of wants.
Sure. I really love the look of Winter, just like the abominable snowman kind of thing. I thought he looked so cool.
Yeah, that was a letdown when he went rogue. I didn't like that.
Yeah,
but it was.
I thought
fitting.
It was fine.
It was fitting.
Like I only needed to see him a couple times before I'm like, he looks cool enough. Like his character can do whatever. I guess, but.
I guess there's Bad Ape too from the squad.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think of Bad Ape? You love Bad Ape.
I enjoyed him. I know. Yeah, he did like
his humor.
It was the humor because the first two films are all so.
I can
serious.
see if the humor was a bit forced or something. Like I almost seemed like the way that character made jokes was very Marvel-like, in that like you don't always need to be comedic, but sometimes they just do it anyway.
And for the tone of the film too, I mean, this is a series that just doesn't have any comedy. Period. It's got like some moments where you'll laugh because it's kind of very innocent, but they're not trying.
Even the first one, James Franco is traditionally a very comedic guy. Like there's maybe a few jokes here or there, but
so it was definitely a twist. But Tyler could have done without it. He said I didn't mind it. At the end of the day, I think he was a cool ape. I love that they showcased how this is not an ape from their tribe, but somewhere else, and he's talking. And so it goes to show there's apes out there that are evolving on their own.
Right.
And the fact that he's
they're capable of learning. I think that's a big thing to remember too.
Yeah.
I thought he, as a character, I think probably I'm gonna say 65% of his jokes worked for me. Whereas some of them, I was like, okay, maybe that wasn't really that funny, but I really when he walked out of the building and he was wearing that vest and the toque, I thought that was hilarious. So I think some of his jokes were really funny, but some of them were maybe a little over the top, I guess, or just maybe too much. Not over the top, but just like there's too much jokes. Like he could have had a few less. But yeah, I really like the dynamic too of he's another one who can talk, and I thought his initial. His introduction was pretty interesting too, because that whole initial scene, I assumed he was a human, which obviously is the intention, and then it was, I guess it was when they were in his mansion or wherever he was staying. That's when I was kind of getting the feeling oh, this is not a human. But yeah, I thought that was like a nice little twist. It wasn't really like it's not really a twist, like sort of a twist. I don't know, but I thought his introduction was cool.
Yeah,
so.
definitely didn't expect it. I thought the whole time it was a human.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the way he acted in his introduction too, definitely doesn't even seem to fit how he acted the rest of the movie. Because in that moment when we first get to see him with his hood on, like he seems so in the moment and careful and just very, I don't know how to explain it. But then after that, he became like clumsy and just like doing
that one
things.
moment when he's like he runs off to grab something. And then he brings it back, and then he runs off again, and he like trips, and makes like a bunch of noise. Yeah. I was like, okay, like I don't know if you needed that, but
I definitely feel though as it got on, like then his humor started to work with me a bit as his character was in there more. Like when he's in the hole and you see the guard's feet and he's just looking so there, funny. And the other apes like looking at looks and then looks back like that was awesome.
Yeah, I like I'm glad he exists, and I'm excited to see like where they take that character and. You know, I think I'd be fine if they left him as a smaller character who just has, like, maybe a few jokes here or there. Maybe he gets some more depth, some emotional moments. But in terms of, like, an ape who's kind of just been on his own, I think that's pretty unique, right? We haven't really seen that. And so I think it was well done enough. And, yeah, like, I think this movie's better with him than it would be if they didn't have him in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who next?
I'm trying to think humans.
The family? Well,
actually, the family, yeah.
So his son, can you remind me of his son in the second movie?
Blue Eyes.
Is he just a baby, or does he...
No, he's like, he definitely doesn't seem as mature. He acts kind of like a teenager in the second one. Like, he rebels against Caesar and everything, and he's very influential, like from Koba, and... he's not really a fighter, but he's a warrior in training. So seeing him right off the bat, his introduction in this, like you just get this feeling of like confidence and power emanating from him.
You feel like he's grown up for sure.
Yeah, he seemed like he was much more enjoyable. Like I liked him the brief time we got to have him in the film. Yeah, I thought like okay, this is definitely a change up. I didn't like him that much in the second film. But he turned it around for me in this, and it sucks to see him let go. Yeah,
I guess it was, for the purpose of amplifying the character of Caesar and giving him more backstory. And yeah, I wonder if do you think that Caesar's other son or daughter? I don't actually know.
Cornelius. He's a main from the original old ones. He's a main.
Okay.
Character.
So do you think Cornelius will be similar to Blue Eyes, or do you think they'll take that character in another direction?
Well, because they kind of been sticking similarly to like the originals with some aspects. So in this sense, I feel like Cornelius, he won't be much of a warrior, but he'll be someone who has like respect for humans and respect for apes, and just wants to find, like he's very curious and wants to have a kind of a happy balance between everything. Yeah. He was definitely in the originals one of my favorite apes, so it was very cool to see him growing up a bit more in this film.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't do a lot in this movie, but it's I guess that in this sense it's more of a nod to the originals. Say, hey, check out this character from the originals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad that the whole family's not gone. There's still something to do with Caesar, because I guess that's kind of been like Caesar's born in the first one, and I guess his mother's not in a ton in the very first movie, right?
No, like it started off with her getting captured.
Yeah, so I'm glad that I guess lineage is going to continue going on. What other apes is there to mention?
There was, I can't remember her name. I think it was Lake,
yeah.
Yeah, like it was the Blue Eyes' Caesar's older son's girlfriend.
Oh, was that? Oh, she was his girlfriend.
I think so. Yeah, because they were like doing their head hug or whatever.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, and then she was taking care of Cornelius.
Yeah, she only had a couple of scenes. I don't think I have really much to say about her.
She's the one who like put the rock up.
When I get shot. Yeah, I remember her. I don't have much to say about her personally. Yeah. I liked the shift that Donkey had at the end.
Donkey Kong.
Where he decided to, that one guy was like, "Get me the grenade launcher." Yeah. I thought that guy was really funny, just because he was like so over the top. Get me the grenade launcher! What are you doing? And so I like that shift that Donkey was just like, fuck this guy, and then he just blew up. Who was it that was chasing him again? It was just... it was that
main
that officer
dude
that we had a few times.
Yeah. I couldn't tell what Donkey was really, like, up to. Like, I knew he was going to turn around at some point, but, like, he had the grenade launcher. I wasn't sure, like, is he going to shoot the gas tank?
I thought the gas tank,
Yeah, but then that guy just popped. So...
I definitely popped.
I really like the kind of, like, the hints that the shots Caesar would make towards Donkey, like, kind of just, like, you know, well, like, you think they're going to keep you alive after? Like, he's just trying to make him come to a realization on his own. And I'm glad he did in the end.
It didn't last long.
It didn't last long.
Roughly 8 seconds.
Yeah, that and it was all in slow motion too.
It was.
The gun was coming around.
So maybe 5 seconds.
Maybe 5 seconds.
Slow mo.
Yeah.
He didn't last too long with his good morals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a lesson for him. He needed to be a bad guy. The moment he turned to a good guy, he died.
Yeah, he died, and that was sad. Like,
it was sad.
Seeing the guy turn around with the gun, like that was.
And like that guy too, the guy who's just yelling.
It had to be that guy. Oh.
Who else is there? Any other ape characters? I don't think so.
I mean, we could talk about Koba because he seemed to have a kind of a
Koba
dominant role in this. I'd say.
Yeah, it was kind of like the classic flashbacks of villain past, and you know, seeing similarities between himself. Yeah, I mean, I thought Koba. I always liked Koba. And like as a villain, I thought he was pretty cool and like interesting. I like his look, how he has like the one like white eye. So I thought it was cool to see him as more of like a. I guess it was just kind of. It was pretty important actually for Caesar to realize, you know, the repercussions of his actions. I suppose. So I liked Koba's appearance, but I mean, obviously he's not really a character. He's more of a flashback.
Well, when did Koba start like popping up for him? Was it after he killed? Winter? Or was it before?
Because he had a dream. He was having a bad dream when, I think it was Lake that woke him up. When they had to leave. Yeah, I think it would have been before Winter then.
Okay.
I think so. Man, I really can't remember. I think, well, because there was like two or three flashbacks, something like that. Like, there wasn't a ton. I think it was
one
two.
where he's like hanged up and it was actually Donkey Kong cutting him down.
Right, Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was before or after Winter. Hard to say.
Yeah. He was definitely a very interesting ape. Like, you know, he had so much trust for Caesar and vice versa. Like, they were there since the first film, and just when it went downhill in the second one, and just the effects of that, like what Koba did, it sparked this war. That's every monkey dying in this war is because of Koba, and it haunted Caesar. So that character definitely living on inside of Caesar is just, it was terrifying.
Yeah, and I guess his repercussions of like his actions are still, I guess a lot of it is kind of feeding what's still going on. So yeah, that character is quite important even after his movie where he was the main villain.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about the Colonel. Let's talk about Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, Woody.
I feel like I haven't seen Woody Harrelson in a movie in a while, like a new movie. Like I can't remember the last movie I saw him in.
You know, I just think it's.
I know he's doing stuff, but it's just not the things that I have seen. I guess.
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, like I haven't seen Woody Harrelson in a while, and I've always kind of had like more. I feel like I've had more of a neutral opinion. I don't love him, I don't hate him. He's kind of just right in the middle. But I thought his performance in this movie was really, really well done, and I think it was amplified by the fact that he's acting with like mocap characters, and I don't know how much of it is like how much of them are mocapped and how much of them are like some scenes they probably just have straight up CGI without actually an actor there. So yeah, I thought Woody Harrelson, like the amount of like emotion that he portrayed throughout this movie was super well done, and I love obviously he has like a kind of a flawed like logic to him, but it almost makes sense. Like he's a very damaged guy and he lost his son, and I guess he's seen what this war does to people, and I imagine like seeing, you know, your friends and your war buddies just like their mind turned to like scrambled egg and the inability to talk and stuff like that. Like you really feel for him, and in that monologue scene, in his office or whatever it is, his watchtower with Caesar. Like I was saying earlier, I like how that wasn't actually the same as it was in the trailer. And yeah, I thought that, I really, really loved that scene, because you can still see like the savagery and just like how he's kind of an asshole at the same time, but there maybe is some reasons for it. Like, it just seems like he's super flawed, and that's what they were going for. I thought it was good.
Yeah, no, I don't remember the last time I've seen him in a serious role. I mean, it's always something where he's smiling or doing something kind of comical, but this was completely just, like, I felt like he was really in the situation where this is extinction for his species, and he's an asshole. He's got certain justifications for his actions, but other than that, his logic is mostly flawed. He's turned on his superiors. Yeah. He's got his own agenda, and I mean, he was definitely amazing. I mean, that moment where he was talking about how he shot his son and he felt purified, I feel like that was just, and I didn't see it at the time really as a foreshadow, but now when I look at it, it's a foreshadow for when Caesar was holding that gun to him, and like Caesar could kill him and maybe feel purified or feel that sense of just revenge, but that was just really, he put himself above the colonel, and then one thing that irked me is when the colonel like shot himself, he put the gun like right here or right by his eye.
Right by his eye.
I don't know, like, I mean,
What's wrong with that?
Well, I just feel like if you're gonna feel a lot of pain. I mean, it's going by your eye. I wouldn't want to know that the gun's right there. Like, you kind of look at it. I mean,
I think you're gonna feel a lot of pain either way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're shooting yourself through the brain, you're probably you die like instantly.
True.
If you hit the right spot.
I wouldn't want to be like in the corner of my eye looking at it like the bullet.
Yeah, I guess most of the time they do it under the chin, and that's like the classic movie stereotype. Yeah, I noticed that, but it didn't irk me.
I did not expect him to be really getting sick. I mean, when he grabbed the little girl's doll, I thought, oh well.
I had a feeling it might happen, but I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Well, when they were banging on the door, I thought, okay, did like one of the apes, did Donkey turn on him or something, or like what's going on? But then when the whole room was a ruin, I mean, you could kind of pick up the pieces and everything.
So I guess the disease, like, it makes it so you can't speak, but then it also, like, I'm wondering how close you are to a human at that point. Like, can you still, like, you kind of lose, like, your moral reasoning and your ability to, like, think about things, don't you?
Yeah, well, like, in the originals, like, the humans that they encounter are, they're like animals. Like, they're
savage.
They're not full-on savages, but they're kind of dumb. They don't talk or anything. So in this sense, it's another kind of nod, I guess, to the originals. But, I mean, this disease that was created to defeat Alzheimer's, but it also increased brain functionality and your human's ability to think to, like, superior levels. Mm-hmm. I guess it's on the reverse.
Right.
And it's just damaging that part of the brain.
And so over time, too, and now we're at a 10-year point. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I guess that's really where it's
so, but when does it really, like, activate? Because obviously Woody Harrelson's character has that disease in him the whole movie. Or he's had it presumably for the last 10 years. So when, like, do we know the answer of when it changes?
Well, every human was infected with it. So I think it was just a matter of, in some humans, it was just evolving to this point.
At different rates?
Different rates. And so at that point, it was, I guess it became like another kind of super virus that just was contagious, I guess. It was either contagious, I'm assuming based on the fact that he touched that girl's doll and he caught it, or it was happening to every human very slowly.
Okay, so he didn't have it before that moment.
Well, they all were infected with the basic version of it, but they were genetically immune to it. That's what we learned in the second film.
Right, yeah.
So at this point, either in everyone it was activating very slowly and evolving in everyone's immune systems, or he caught it contagiously through that doll. It's one of those two.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing, because the girl, like, obviously she's a child, so it's hard to determine, like, how much, like, how, I guess, smart, or how much it's determined, like, been detrimental to, like, her brain functioning, but obviously she can't talk. But she doesn't seem like that out of the ordinary, other than the fact that she can't talk.
Yeah.
So that's kind of confusing.
Yeah, I mean...
Or could she just not talk?
Well, she
anyway.
tried to talk and she couldn't.
Right.
And then we see like those other soldiers one soldier in the snow, he was trying to talk and he couldn't talk. Same for Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like
I think there's like a component of them that realizes, like, they're conscious of the fact that they have this disease and it's, messing with them. So they at least know, like they're aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess that's a part of it too.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't, I don't think it like damages their vocal cords or anything, because you can hear them, they get to that point where they could, but I think
they just can't piece the words together.
They can't piece the words together. It kind of like does something to their speech and when it connects to their brain. I don't know.
Brain, yeah.
But then like their nose is bleeding and everything, so there's some crazy brain activity getting jumbled up in their heads there.
Yeah, it's probably like amplified in some areas, but then also detrimental in like others.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, Woody Harrelson.
There was, that other human that was there from the beginning and was
his like sidekick.
Yeah, he had the crossbow.
Yeah.
He was interesting because I thought throughout the whole film he was going to turn around at the end because he kept looking
like
guilty.
To help out the apes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like now that I think, like when I was watching the movie, I thought he was fine, and then like he died, and I was like, okay. And I'm thinking about it now, and it's like, what did he really do in this movie? Like, what was...
He killed Caesar.
He did, I get. Like, he did shoot the arrow. I feel like Caesar could have done something about that.
He could have.
I guess that guy does kill Caesar, but other than that, he's kind of just like a henchman who has like a common fate, or like we see him a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was okay. Like, he was alright. Like, he wasn't that special. Like, they could have got away of making this movie without that character, I guess. Yeah. But he's like the first character you're introduced to in this movie, I guess, in the jungle scene when they're climbing the mountain a little bit. So yeah, I thought once again, I think I'd compare him to how much I like the girl character, and that they're just kind of there. Like they do serve a purpose for this movie. It's just not a huge purpose, I guess. So he's all right.
Yeah, I definitely I thought he was gonna turn around, like when he was surprised that Caesar let him live, and then when he had this look of just kind of like, oh gosh, I feel awkward being in the room with the Colonel and Caesar.
Yeah.
And then at the end, like when he opened the gate and he's like, oh, like the apes are gone, and just yet he's still stuck to his beliefs. It was just another kind of like inner conflict for another character, which that's what this movie seemed to be all about.
Mm-hmm. A lot of inner conflicts.
A lot of inner conflicts. Yeah.
Okay. Any other characters that we haven't mentioned? I don't think so. Not really.
No, there really weren't too many other human characters. I mean, aside from just
a couple guards, but they're all just kind of like generic assholes.
Yeah. You could count like that whole army as one character in a sense, where they came and attacked and they killed themselves.
I thought that was a pretty funny scene of like them all cheering, and then one of them turns around and Caesar's just like standing there, and then they all kind of turn around, and then after like 10 seconds, the one guy like raises his gun.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty funny, and then that avalanche just destroyed all of them.
Yeah.
That was pretty.
There was definitely like, I want to say like maybe not a few thousand, but well, maybe. There's a lot of them, and they're all.
There
dead.
was a lot of people there.
Yeah.
There probably was like at least 1,000.
Yeah.
And if you consider that there's not a ton of humans on this planet at this point, that's a pretty big chunk of people. That could be like a quarter of all the people in the world.
Yeah, probably. It falls back on that story aspect, just how throughout all 3 films, humans just do this to themselves.
Right.
And yeah, like
it comes back to them.
It comes back to them. They were fighting in this mini war here to just kind of think they were doing right, and really it wasn't. And when that avalanche comes down, it just felt like
what was the purpose of them going to the Colonel's base anyway?
Well, the Colonel said, because they didn't agree with the Colonel's actions on executing his men that got sick, because the military there said that we have a way to deal with this, like we have ways that we could fix it.
Oh, like a medication.
Yeah, and he didn't believe it, and he said the only way you're going to relieve me of command is if you come here yourselves.
Yeah.
So he invited it.
Right, but it's like they didn't really need to do that, right?
No.
Like that was a risk. Like obviously they would have. I guess they didn't really lose a ton of people until the avalanche
Until the
happening.
avalanche, yeah.
But yeah, like you think about it, it's like, did they really need to do that? Like they could have left that guy there.
They could have, but then it's just, it goes to show how humans just that need to just get involved and interfere with things, like how they created the virus, and they, in the second one, they wanted to get that dam operational, and they were afraid of the apes attacking. Like, they're just, it all stems from fear.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess those military men are like, they're afraid of what these other people could do.
Right.
They don't know, and it just, when that avalanche comes down, it just felt like just like a calming, like a final, like, it's like the earth kind of like sighing, kind of just, it's done.
Yeah, it goes from like just such a loud, and because like even before the avalanche, like it's that whole war scene, so there's a lot of like gunfire, and then like the music's like amping up too, and yeah, like right after the avalanche, it's like that just nothingness.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. It's a nice dichotomy there.
Yeah. I think, I can't think of any other characters.
No, that's pretty much all the characters.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to bring up, and this is more so a thing for all three of the movies, but I just really like the way that these movies are filmed, and like the way, like the color schemes, I guess. So it's very, like, there's a lot of like green and like white and like white, gray, black, and like those are like your main colors. And I feel like you can really tell, like, obviously there's a lot of apes running around, but you can really tell like what movie you're watching. Like it seems special. Like it's very distinct, I guess, like the way they film it, and just generally like the kind of colors that are on the screen. So that's one thing as well in this movie. Just like the other two, it kind of kept with that theme, and you can even see that in the trailer. Like it is distinctly like an Apes movie. So once again, like I think it's something special. It sticks out in that sense. Like just any particular scene, it kind of sticks out. So yeah, I thought that was well done.
Yeah, it definitely fit with the tone of the movie. Like I felt the first one was very colorful. The second one was a different kind of colorful but darker, and this one was very. It felt like black and white.
Right, like it kind of takes that decline a little bit.
Yeah.
And then even I guess the start of the movie is them like in the jungle, so it's still very green. It's dark, but it's very like it is that jungle area, and then progressively as they get to the like kind of winter area, and then the movie ends with them at this desert oasis, kind of looks like Arizona kind of looking area. So yeah, what'd you think of that? The ending of the movie then. Them arriving at this lake, this really beautiful lake, and some mountains, and what looks like to be no pesky humans are looking to kill them.
Yeah, no, it looked awesome. Like it just that whole build up to that scene was just phenomenal, and just finally get to see the apes kind of achieve what they wanted, just that peace. And I wasn't expecting Caesar to die. I thought
no, I wasn't either actually.
I thought they got way past that point.
I feel like just based on what happened to him, like he got hit by an arrow, and I feel like they don't have med kits and stuff like that, first aid kits, but I feel like they could have patched him up. But I almost, it was more of a thing of like it's his time to go. Like he's done what he had to do. He saved his child, who will probably go on to be a very big character in the later movies, and so I almost feel like it wasn't necessarily just the fact that he got hit by an arrow. It was just like all of that like pressure and stress that was put on him throughout, I guess, the last, like all of the movies, and then the events of the third movie itself, kind of all get to that point where he arrives in that island and he can see that like beautiful like paradise, and then he's like fine to just pass at that point.
Yeah.
So while I didn't think he was gonna die, I don't really know why. I feel like they set up for that, but I thought it was really well done, and it just kind of, like, if this was a trilogy, like, that would have been a good ending to the trilogy. Obviously, there's more story to be told, and there's more to find out, but in terms of Caesar and Caesar's trilogy, I think that was, like, beautifully done and wonderfully ended.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That moment and that build-up, it hit Tyler. it hit him pretty hard. I didn't shed a tear, but it definitely hit me. Yeah. Watching the other two movies, that's where some tears dropped, and seeing that moment, I didn't.
Tyler's a crier,
Yeah, well,
what can we say?
When I got to that moment of the movie, I didn't cry. I felt happy that he finally got to this part.
Yeah.
For his character, and he got to finally just rest.
Well, because you feel like some characters pass, and it's like, oh, I wanted to see more from that character, but with Caesar, you can't can't really complain. He had a lot. He had a really, really big storyline.
Yeah, it was definitely his time, which is good. And I mean, I didn't see it coming, so I guess that helps that I don't see him dying any other way. That was like a great way.
True.
Especially like just him and Maurice.
Yeah, if he just got like shot by some human, I guess that is technically how he died, but I still think it was more about like the emotional aspect of it. But yeah, if he just got like shot and killed, like that wouldn't have been justified for that character. It's such a big character.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about pretty much everything. Do you have anything else?
One thing that was kind of cool. Now I don't remember if it was in this one, but well, maybe it was. But it's like a specific symbol. It's like a star with like a circle.
Yeah, the window. Yeah.
Yeah, the window. That was so cool. That was another thing.
Was that? Yeah, was that in the third one?
I think it was. That was like Caesar's symbol for his tribe, I think. So that was like carried over throughout all the films, because that's like his favorite.
I always loved that when he got sent in the first movie to that like prison or testing facility, whatever it was. Like he drew that on the wall. Yeah, I always loved that. I thought that was just a nice little detail. Just like visually, it just looked nice. So.
Visually, yeah. And again, like when it carried over into the second one, their whole fortress, it had the symbol everywhere. And I think it was in the third one too. And that was really cool.
Now that I think about it, I didn't see it anywhere. I feel like it's got to be somewhere though.
I think it has to be, because this movie really paid respects to like honoring its predecessor, like the film that comes before it, with like characters and nods to it. Like even the second one, they showed James Franco on the camcorder, so they're all so connected, these films.
Yeah,
that's something I'm gonna have to watch it again and keep an eye out.
Yeah. Anything else to mention? You feel like it feels like you have more to say.
I feel like I do.
Is it that feeling where you're like, I'm going to be mad at myself for forgetting this later? Is that what you're...
I get that like 90% of the time after every film review.
I do too. It's like, I wanted to talk about that one little detail.
Yeah. But I just go see it.
That's... We sit down and we talk about the movie. We don't have like notes to look at. Well, sometimes we do, but...
Travis
that's the thing. Well, sometimes we just forget things because... It's all just in our head.
Yeah.
And you saw it like 2 days ago now, so I'm sure.
Yeah, and back to back with there's 3
Yeah, they
films.
kind of all blend together.
They all blend together.
Just one 9-hour movie or 8-hour movie. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I feel like we talked about everything there is to talk about. So let's get into. Well, you're gonna do a rating. I'm not gonna do a rating. I don't do that. But yeah, give another quick overall, and then what is your number that you're gonna give it? If you don't have to give it a number. If you're not in the number kind of mood, that's fine.
No,
I'm going to convince them all that the number system is flawed at some point.
I'll stick with a number for this. I'm going to give it a good number. This movie, I definitely like. I'm giving it. I'm not giving it more praise than I should, just because I saw the 2 prequels before it. This movie deserves just all around great. It's a good movie. It surpassed my expectations. And characters like Caesar, you don't get to find them in movies, all these kinds of movies, like him, like Optimus Prime, all these other characters. Like they're so human, even though they're not human characters. And I love that, how they capture that with the things they do and their expressions. And I love that so much in the movie. And his development and his ending in this trilogy has just been phenomenal, and every moment you get to experience with him with that score added on top. Normally with a score, I'll buy like 1 or 2 tracks here and there if I like it, but I listened to the score again the other night, and I think I'm going to buy the whole album.
I think I am too, actually. Yeah, it was so good.
It was phenomenal, and it's definitely a movie I'm picking up as soon as it comes out. You got to go see it. That's all I can say. So I'm going to give it I gotta give it a 10 out of 10.
Oh, the perfect movie.
I gotta give it
Have you given any other movie 10 out of 10 this year?
I think I gave Wonder Woman 10 out of 10.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. Wonder Woman and Lego Batman, maybe? I can't remember.
I definitely gave Lego Batman a 10 out of 10.
I think I gave Lego Batman 10 out of 10. I know Wonder Woman is
What about Transformers? Did you give that a 10 out of 10? I'm sorry, I didn't listen to your review.
I
feel like I wouldn't understand anything.
I didn't give it a 10 out of 10. It was high, but it wasn't a 10 out of 10. Yeah. No, but this is a 10 out of 10, you know.
Deservedly so.
It deserves it,
I
totally.
can't, like, in a lot of time you'll give a movie a 10, or not 10, but just give it a specific rating, and I'm quite confused. But the 10 for this one, I understand. As for myself, let's see. I mean, we talked about everything there is to talk about, and I think the story was very well done. It just combining all these, characters in such a, I think you mentioned how all these movies kind of blend together, and I think that's because it really sets up like an immersive world. Like it really just makes sense, and the characters feel real even though they're mocap, like CGI'd characters. So yeah, I absolutely love this movie. I think Caesar is like, I mean, maybe it's just some recency bias, but he's like one of my favorite characters, at least of this year, like for sure. I love the way these movies are filmed and shot. They're just so beautiful and unique. And I think one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing for me, is the soundtrack. Even like Spider-Man, I like the soundtrack, but it doesn't even compare to how good this soundtrack was. Mm-hmm. So and soundtracks, it's really hard for a movie to like feel like it has a unique soundtrack that hasn't been done before. And this one, I don't really think it was something necessarily that hasn't been done before. It blended with the movie so well. Like it seemed like a little note playing or like the drums like building up to something. So yeah, just between the characters and the general story and just the sound and look of the movie, I think this movie was just phenomenal. I feel like everyone has to go see it.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the other two, go watch them first because you're not going to connect with some things. Even like I've seen the second one a couple times and I still feel like I needed to watch it like recently just to feel like I remembered everything. But yeah, go see this movie. It deserves for you to see it. It deserves your money.
It deserves it.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Taylor, where can they find us? I'm not Travis, but someone's got to do it.
Oh, well, with that good old internet connection, ladies and gentlemen, all you apes out there, you can go into the search bar on Google, and you can go into Facebook, actually. Let's skip Google. Just go into the search bar and type in Facebook, and then on Facebook search bar, type in...
That's smart. That's saving you one whole step.
A whole step. We're all about saving steps here at the Geekverse. Go into the search bar on your Facebook and type in Geekverse Space Podcast.
Yes.
And when you do, you're going to find this review that you're already watching or listening to, and you're going to find tons of awesome other reviews like Spider-Man and our 2nd year anniversary.
Yep, that was last week. Good times.
I mean, we got a lot of D23 stuff coming up, don't we?
Yeah, D23 is the weekend that we're recording this review. So we'll have, I don't know how many episodes we'll have up for that, just because they do hold back like some information, I think. Mm-hmm. But we'll have at least 1 or 2 podcasts.
Yeah, there's that. There's Comic-Con stuff coming up. I mean, there's always something for everyone, especially this
Dunkirk
this week.
Is next week? Is Dunkirk next week?
I think it is next week.
And then I think that's it for July. Maybe there's one more thing in July.
Might be one more. But yeah,
Dunkirk. I remember. Either way, yeah, on Twitter we're Geekverse Cast, and then everywhere else we're Geekverse Podcast. So it's pretty easy to remember. I think the links will be up on YouTube if you're on there. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Taylor, this was, sometimes, 2-person cast, it can be tricky. There's only 2 people, and you try to avoid those awkward pauses, and I think we did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah, no, the ship sailed smoothly throughout this cast.
And we might be doing a few more in the near future, just because, people are busy. So,
yeah, people are very busy.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone, and I don't want to steal Travis's line, but I don't have another outro.
I don't even remember what he says.
Yeah, he's out of here. He's gone. He's not here to say it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good night, and have a better tomorrow.